Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Blood and Plunder content for you as we work our way on reviewing some of the factions for the game here in our ongoing series. So we're continuing on with English factions, and today we will have the North American Militia list for you, which of course when we get into the later expansion books we'll have some more options here, but this is just a good catch-all list. So covering roughly 1620 to 1713, so plenty of fertile ground there for exploring the time period and that particular frontier as well. So the 4 special rules here has a pretty cool one. You may re-roll any of your failed fatigue and rally tests during the game's first turn. Now you're probably not going to have too many of those, but that is always nice if you are forced into taking some of that on the first turn, especially the rally tests. So as you might expect, with it being North American Militia, English Militia is going to be a core unit, as is Militia Pikemen as far as a unit choice. So, you know, again, Militia focused. So the 2 English Militia units. Support, though, here is a little different than what we've seen in our previous English lists. Here we're going to actually have access to Indian fighters as a support, more militia in the form of cavalry and artillery crew, or sea dogs if we want to go that route. And then we can bring in our friends, the Dutch, again, with the Militia and the boss slopers. Again, we're probably butchering that, but we do have access to those units. So commander options, of course, any militia commander, but also here special characters, Benjamin Church or Sam Mosley if we want to go that route. So and then the force options, though, is pretty cool. It's always nice when a list then already has a couple of variants and variations that we can run as part of that. So if we wanted to specifically run what's called a ranging party, you may actually include the Indian fighters and militia cavalry as core if you don't include any militia pikemen, sea dog units, or militia artillery crew. So is it worth it to drop out the militia pikes, sea dogs, or even any artillery crew? In other words, probably not running artillery, right? For access to basically getting Indian fighters and cavalry as core. So could be a worthy trade-up. So something to consider. If we wanted to go a troop of horse, you may take militia cavalry as a core unit if you include at least 2 units of militia cavalry, and the commander has to be mounted as well. So basically a cavalry-focused list, and again, does present some awesome options there as well, just with all the things that the cavalry can get up to versus just the standard units, infantry units, that is. And then finally, the privateers. So here, if we wanted to take sea dogs as core units, we get that option, but we do have to sacrifice a few things. So we cannot include boss slopers, militia cavalry, or militia artillery crew. So again, 2 of our variant lists here are preventing us from taking the artillery crew, but this does let us have sea dogs as a core, which, you know, does make, again, for some interesting composition here, as the sea dogs are, again, pretty damn nasty to field. So really powerful units. And then finally, the allied factions. So again, if we want to play this as an army scale list, again, we get more of our native allies here. So northeastern woodland tribes, southeastern woodland tribes, Iroquois, and then here, interestingly as well, Scottish militia. So something that we'll delve into later on when we review individual units as well. But as you might expect, the militia force, so again, it's not necessarily going to be the cream of the crop as far as units go in the bog standard list, but we can play around and have some variation with that. So if we want to go more cavalry focused, or bring in some of our Indian fighters more as core units, or in another variant really focus on sea dogs in addition to our standard core units. But as always here, it seems like we're going to then have some sacrifices. So on the one hand, we would be sacrificing pikes, sea dogs, or militia crew, but we bring in the fighters and cavalry. We want to go cavalry focused. Basically, we're okay there, but everything has to be mounted more or less. Well, not necessarily everything, but the commander certainly does, and we do have to then bring in several units of the cavalry. And then finally, the privateers, again, if we want to go a little bit more sea dog focused, but we didn't then lose out on a couple other choices as well. So overall, fun list. Not always the cream of the crop in the core, but certainly plenty of good stuff in support if we just run the bog standard list, or any of their variations as well have some really nice options for us. So a fun one to test out, and certainly, again, getting into the more North American frontier, so as opposed to strictly staying in the Caribbean, does offer some new units in the form of the native allies, but then also some of the stuff we'll get in the later expansion books as well, like Fire in the Frontier. So we'll see some more native options and things like that. So overall, a fun list to try out. But let's hear from you guys. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know if you have tested the English militia lists, if you've run any of the variant lists here in the force options sections, and what you tend to use for your army composition or force composition with this particular list. So hit us up in the comments there, guys. Or if you played against it, let us know how that has fared for you as well. But hit us up in the comments, like, subscribe, and if you want to support the channel a little bit more, check out in the description our Patreon that we just launched. So any support is always appreciated, but by no means required. But we are adding some new cool things there in the coming weeks and months, so definitely something to consider. But for now, thanks so much for watching as always. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.